Hi, and welcome back to part 3 of the Revenue Revolution. If you haven't watched parts 1 and 2, I would suggest you go watch them first, because in part 1 we talked about the problems and the pitfalls that keep people from having a revenue revolution. And then in part 2, I gave you some really good ideas as to how to begin to start your own revenue revolution. And I left you with this question at the end of part 2. We all have 24 hours in a day. How do you spend yours? The average person spends about 8 hours sleeping and 8 hours working. That gives them 8 hours a day to create their own revenue revolution. So let me tell you about my clients, Alicia and Gerard. Alicia and Gerard were a struggling company. You see, both of these people had been doing income strategy number 1 that we talked about. And Alicia was doing that, and she got kind of disillusioned with income strategy number 1. And so they decided to start their own company. And so Gerard stayed at his job. Alicia started this construction company. And when they came to me for help, they were really struggling with their new company. And so for them, we had to reorganize and kind of clean house. And once we started getting things put back together, they were able to double and sometimes triple their income in a year, every year for the past 4 years. And this year, within the first 6 weeks, they had matched their performance of last year. So they are getting really close to that, changing their yearly income into a monthly income as they continue to grow and make quantum leaps in their business. So some people might say, well, what's the secret? Well, as I kind of explained to you in part 2, there aren't really any secrets, and probably you've been doing some of these techniques and these procedures and methods now, but you're not doing them the right way, and you're not doing them with consistency, and there's where the problem lies. So what you need is the right system, which is the revenue revolution. Now, this is not, as I said, a get-rich-quick scheme we talked about in part 2. This is not a program that you need to figure out yourself. You see, you don't need to discover it yourself and become one of those unconscious competence and maybe never figure out exactly what you did. There is a procedure to go through. And what you do is you need guidance that will enable you to grow in abundance. And this system, it will work for any individual. So myth number 1 is that people believe they can do it themselves. I was this way for so many years. I knew I needed a coach or a mentor to help me, and yet I refused to do it. Why? Because I thought I could figure it out myself. I thought all I needed to do was to read the next great book or listen to the next wonderful program that came out, and that would be the answer. And people think that next year things will be different, or if you just read that next book. Well, here's the problem. If you go to a bookstore and read books on how to do something, how to become wealthy, or how to improve yourself, or self-development, there are thousands of books. If it was the next book or next program or next year's going to be different, the whole world would be wealthy. Sometimes they think that if I do this one thing different, my results are going to be different, and I'll make the change. And then, of course, we have the definition of insanity, which doing the same thing, expecting different results. That's probably not going to happen. So what a person has to do is to begin to learn the steps to altering their thinking. And you see, a person earning $50,000 a year does not think the same way as a person earning $250,000 or $2.5 million. They just think different. And it's that altering of the thinking that makes the huge impact in somebody's life. So change your thinking, you change your results, and you change your income, or whatever area in your life you're trying to improve. So let me tell you about my friend Ronald, and that's not really his name. But Ronald was one of those people who, like me, read multiple books, attended multiple seminars, listened to all this wonderful information. And in fact, he was very diligent in listening to CDs in his car. And so his car became like a traveling university. And he could recite all these quotes and tell you all kinds of information that he had read in those books and learned at those seminars. The problem was that Ronald never fully understood or developed the awareness or took the action or developed the pattern of what you need to do. So he became all talk, no action. He could tell you anything, he just could not do it. And for Ronald, he was unwilling to take the steps to go through the revenue revolution and to get the mentoring and the coaching that he needed, and to have the help to understand in a deep way what steps he was doing wrong to correct them. And therefore, Ronald will probably remain stuck and frustrated the rest of his life, never achieving anywhere near to what he could do. So myth number 2 is thinking eventually. 80% of people wander around going through the motions without a goal in mind. They don't even have a goal. Well, how are you going to get any place if you don't have a goal? And they just wander through life. No plan equals no success. It's not going to just fall in your lap. You have to have a definite purpose, and that becomes the burning desire that you have. And it's only when you get to that burning desire that you start to change your results. So let me tell you about my friend Kathy. Kathy grew up being told by her mother no one would ever like her. And she thinks now that her mother would say those things because she wanted to keep Kathy all to herself. Again, Kathy's not her real name. Kathy ended up having failed marriages. Why? Because nobody would ever like her, right? And she had a business that wasn't successful because nobody would ever like Kathy. And so when I met Kathy and she reached out to me for help, the first thing we had to do was to change her self-image. You see, you're never going to outperform the image that you hold of yourself. So if you hold this image of somebody that nobody's going to like and nobody's going to purchase anything from and nobody's, going to be able to build relationships, that's the person you become. And you can't outperform it. If you have the thinking of a person making $50,000 a year, no matter how much you want to make $250,000, how much you dream and wish to make $250,000, if your thinking is that of a $50,000 person, you're never going to make $250,000. You just cannot outperform your image that you hold. So what we had to do with Kathy was to change her image, and therefore then we could start changing her business results. What do most people do? They try something, or they hope, or they wish things will change, but they never use those 6 action steps we talked about in the last video, or they never look at the possibilities of the 3 income strategies. They just hope or wish things are going to change. That's not going to cut it. Or they don't follow through. You tell them to do something, you give them suggestions, and they just don't follow through. Why don't they follow through? Because that's their paradigm. That's their habitual thought process. Or they just don't find the right system that completes that transformation. You see, that was Ronald's problem. Ronald had all this information, had all these programs, but it wasn't the right system. And as long as it wasn't the right system, he could just quote things and think he understood, but he really did not. So life really begins at the end of your comfort zone. You see, for you to go out and do and produce different results, it's going to take getting out of your comfort zone. So the revenue revolution, we're going to unlock the paradigms that are holding you back. We're going to figure out what it is in your habitual thought process that's keeping you stuck. We're going to make those mental shifts so that your goals are achieved once and for all, and you don't keep going through this struggle and this back and forth in your head, about whether you can achieve or cannot achieve. We're going to lock in a tracking system and processes so you can see the results that you're getting. So let's recap. You need the right roadmap and you need the right process. And without the right roadmap and process, it's doomed. Nothing's going to be much different next year than it was the year before, or the year before that. Nothing much is going to change if you keep doing the same things and you don't reach out and get the help that you need to unlock the paradigms that you have. I want you to think of this. Life is too short to waste. I wasted a lot of years not being able to figure this out and not getting the help and the resources and the right process for myself. It's too short to waste. So let's figure it out so you get over it and learn for yourself right now. You see, if you want to climb the ladder to success and you want to make those quantum leaps and have the progress, you just need to have the right system in place. So let's look at those success stories. Ronald, not coachable, going nowhere. Elise and Jard went from nearly closing their doors of their business to doubling or more their income every single year. And this year, I have no clue how high they're going to get. Kathy went from feeling lack of self-worth to realizing and to building her confidence so that she could impact her business and her personal life. So investing money on yourself is the best investment anybody can make, because there is no greater return than your ability to change what you're doing and to create more with your life. So what is it costing you to not invest in yourself? You see, I know for myself, going for years of knowing I needed to make the right investments in my life and yet not doing it held me back for years. So how much longer do you want to stay stuck like I was? And then you get to somebody who says, change your yearly income and or your monthly income into your yearly income into monthly income, and you think it's not even possible. You see, I was so stuck because I was not willing to invest in myself. The benefits you derive from investing in yourself can go far beyond yourself. They go to your family and anyone you come in contact with, your business partners, your associates at work. You see, when you change yourself, you can start to begin to change others too. And you have a choice. You see, it is our choice. You don't have the right to complain about what others have and what you don't, because you have a choice. You see, you may have those paradigms in your head that maybe you didn't plant there. Most of them were planted there by other people, but you have a choice whether to believe them or whether to reject them and plant new paradigms that will give you the freedom and successes that you want in life. You know, how much longer do you want to be stressed out? How much longer do you want to have, people coming at you with everything and you feel so stuck in your life? Or do you want to finally have that balance of time and money freedom? Same old thinking, you'll get the same old results. Change your thinking and you'll end up with different results. So how can I help? Well, this is what I've done. I have set aside some time to speak with you personally about how to apply the Revenue Revolution system to your life and to your business. And the cost of that is free. I am giving time, and it's a limited amount of time because my time's getting very busy and my schedule's getting very full. So if you want to book a time, you need to do it really quickly. But I've set this time aside, and why am I doing this? Well, I want to help you crystallize your vision. I want to help you to see the possibilities of what your future could look like. And then we'll talk through your biggest challenges and what's keeping you from attaining them. And then we'll talk about a plan and a path that you can take. You see, a goal without a plan, well, it's just a wish, and wishes won't cut it. They are not going to get you to financial freedom. So what you need to do is to go to revenuerevolutionapply.com or follow the link on this letter, and you can get on my list and schedule an appointment. You see, investing in yourself is the best investment you can make because, some people think they can't afford to invest in themselves. And you know what? You can't afford not to invest in yourself. Sometimes people think, well, the timing isn't right. You know what? Timing's never going to be right. Let's just get that out of the way. If not now, when? Stuff happens in your life, and timing is never going to be perfect. Some people think they don't have time. Well, if you don't think you have time to invest in yourself, then we really need to talk, because you really do have a life balance issue. And let me help you find the time. I have tools and processes in place that can help you find the time. So 5 ways here to move towards a revolution Revenue Revolution. These are ways you're going to work smarter, not harder. It's not going to be any harder than what you're doing now. And yet you're going to find more success. We're going to find ways to help you increase your income. We're going to help you to develop ways to find those multiple streams of income and the possibilities out there. They're probably right in front of you. You're just not seeing them. We're going to help you to learn how to chase after your dreams instead of chasing after time and money. And so what you need to do is to book the solution call with RevenueRevolutionApply.com. And again, the link is on this page. So I would like to thank you, and I hope to see you at the call for the Revenue Revolution.